Hello, you all. It's a great pleasure to be here again in our webinar series with my dear friend Danielle. Here at SGP Sandra Gomes Pinto, we have been helping many Americans and Canadians moving to Portugal, and we actually had the privilege to accompany this family throughout their journey to Sotelo, a little fantastic village near Coimbra. I've just been talking with Danielle and I'm already willing to have some vacations over there. To start with, I will do a very, very brief overview in the changes, the possible upcoming changes in terms of immigration and citizenship laws, and what's at stake at this moment. I will not cover every detail, but if you have any doubts, please send us an email and come back to us because we were willing to explain everything. It's very important to clarify that at this moment, no amendment, no alteration of the law is already in place. So the legislative process is already in progress, has already started. Many of these alterations were already approved by the Parliament, but not yet ratified by the President and not yet in force. I would say the most significant change will be that the requirement for acquiring citizenship through naturalization, it will not be 5 years. From now on, it will be 10 years, except for those from the CPLP countries. And in those cases, it will be 7 years. Another important thing is that children born in Portugal will not automatically have the right to be Portuguese, but it is important that the parents have at least 3 years of legal residency. Another important requirement for naturalization, so the language requirement was already in place in the previous law, but now it will be required that people show that they know about Portuguese culture and they know about the Portuguese legal system and they have a strong connection with the Portuguese community, which was already in the previous law, but was not many times not directly applicable. There is also the possibility in some cases when people commit some serious crimes that the citizenship may be revoked. In terms of the immigration itself, it is very important to state that this will not affect people that want to come with a D7 or D8 in the majority of cases, and will not affect the daily life of those that already got a D7 or a D8. That in Portugal will be treated almost as Portuguese, as Danielle may testify, except for very small and little things. So in respect to those that come here to work, they will change the manifestação de interesse. There will be, apparently, the government wants to be stricter the requirements for family reunification only when the main applicant is already here for 2 years. I have doubts in respect to the constitutional conformity of this change because there is a family protection in our constitution. The employment visas will be tighter. People can only come with an employment visas when they already have a job or if they want to get a job for high quality, for high value activities. There will be also, they want to introduce a new border policy, and there will be also a transitional regime. This is what we have in the project. This is what was approved by the Parliament, but it's not yet law, is not yet in force, and we will have to understand what the President will do to see whether these changes will actually get into force and will be applicable in Portugal. If you have more questions, we don't have yet a law. Please be aware that no changes are yet in force and that the majority of changes won't affect those that want to come with a D7 or D8 and won't affect the daily life of those that are already D7 holders. Now, getting back to you and your lovely journey with your family, Danielle, I think you are a study case of a person that went to Canada and are so happy in a little village in the center of Portugal, full of nature and super vibrant and healthy. Can you tell us how did you find out about Portugal? And I think, can you tell us our audience, how did you find out about Portugal?
Well, to move to Portugal was it just was decided. I don't really know where to start. So there was three different things that we were thinking about. My husband had open heart surgery and he had some health complications and he needed to slow down. Canada is a great country, but it is a very stressful country, very expensive, and access to health care in a timely manner is very difficult. Um, for his health, he needed to slow down, and being able to move to Portugal and work online was a dream come true, really. Our daughter wanted to go to university originally and didn't want to be in a massive student debt in Canadian student loans, and knew that moving abroad would be much more economical. And also, she wanted to travel the world and to be in Europe. That's just much easier to do. Living in Portugal, living here. So we decided to do some research, and the research that we came up with was Portugal at that time was one of the top 5 places for Canadians to either relocate, retire, or work abroad from. And so we made the choice to come for vacation and check it out.
Okay, great. I see that a lot of you are popping up questions, both for me and for Danielle. I will ask my team to bring me those questions in the end, and we will cover them. If we don't cover them, then come back to us. It will be a pleasure to answer, to clarify your doubts in respect to the new legislation. And then coming back to you, Danielle, and your fantastic story. And how did you find out about us? How did you find our office, and how was it? Can you please tell our audience?
So after our research and we decided to come to Portugal for a 3-week vacation, we were pretty set that we needed to check out this beautiful country.
Mhm.
And we knew that we needed help to do it, because where do you start? I don't speak Portuguese and struggling to learn. And so we went out in search of a legal team and we found you actually on Facebook. Um, we were skeptical because it's Facebook. So we knew that we were coming, so we decided to meet you in person, and we came to your office and found that you were a very professional team, a beautiful office. We met a number of your colleagues, and you guys welcomed us with open arms, and we hired you right on the spot.
And can you please tell me, how did you find your location in central Portugal? How did you find this location? You live in Sotelo, near
Yeah,
Coimbra, still very near to a big city with all the amenities and a nice beach, but
yeah,
completely full of nature in a completely healthy environment. Can you tell us a little bit about how did you find your location?
sure. So we had a number of different locations that you had mentioned to investigate with our 3-week tour of Portugal. There's a very big price range of places to live in Portugal, and the university and the research that we did around Coimbra at that time, because our daughter was just graduating high school. Um, it's a university city, so we wanted to be central Portugal and close enough to a beach that we can go before my husband starts work in the mornings and go for a nice walk on the beach. And um, we found our house on Facebook. It was a expats moving to Portugal site. It was actually a real estate for sale by owner site. Completely skeptical again, and saw the house and fell in love with it online. It was exactly what we wanted. So we decided to see if it was actually a real thing. And we clicked the button on the Facebook and actually came and seen it on our vacation and bought it right on the spot. So that kind of solidified our journey that it was actually going to happen. So, um, Yeah, it
So,
was,
as far as I remember, while you were in Canada, we took everything with respect to the house. And you
yes.
did a seller, which was a lovely lady writing a book in the middle of the nature, but she was a little bit complicated also.
Yes.
So this is what we did take care of everything, and there were some challenges with documents, as always in Portugal. There is always an additional document needed,
Yes.
but we managed everything. Even the documents that the seller didn't have, we managed to take care of everything and to represent you in the deed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been completely impossible to do what we accomplished without your team. Absolutely. There was so many documents and everything had to be translated into Portuguese and the processes changed every day at that time. And from Canada, after vacation, there was no way that we could stay here to complete the process and also know how to do it. So,
Yes, and we also help you to get a loan. And
mhm.
they asked also for, there were several challenges, as you
Yeah.
probably can remember. They asked for all your health documents to everything.
Oh yeah, they know everything about us.
I will take a look briefly of the questions that I have here. People that we have Roger asking whether we have any potential effects to nomad visas. I don't see in their daily life this will not affect nomad visas. Can you please tell if anything in the news will affect citizenship by descent? No, what we have right now will not affect citizenship by descent, the majority. In which village are you? In Sotelo, near Coimbra. Danielle is in Sotelo. Um, my parents were born in Portugal, probably were born in Portugal, so the new law, Isabel, won't affect you. Probably what we have in respect to the wording of the new law won't affect those that were looking for citizenship by descent. Can you speak, my spouse? This should be da da da. Have you found, Danielle? Perhaps you could answer this question. Have you found getting healthcare harder not being close to a main town? Can you, the Brownie Scott is asking this. Can you please help us with this?
So in respect to the doctors that we need for our family, the again another reason why we chose Coimbra is the Coimbra University has some of the best heart surgeons in the country and if not Europe. And being in Sotelo, we're only 20 minutes away from Coimbra, and Coimbra University is very easy to get to, and the private hospital and the public hospital is only 15 minutes away. So the location to the doctors and the hospitals and specialists it's very close by.
Okay, there's someone asking, how do you transfer your money from Canada to Portugal?
How do I? I do a global money transfer from bank to bank. It's super easy. It usually takes about 3 days from my personal bank account, but we still get paid in Canadian funds because we have a construction company in Canada, and our paychecks go directly into our bank account in Portugal.
There's someone asking whether the path through with the D7, the path to citizenship is somehow different. To all the visas, the alterations will affect all the visas. So if this alteration for 5 years to 10 years to acquire citizenship passes, it will be the same path. It will affect all the visas. Okay, I think now we cover some of the questions from our audience. We are not covering them all, but if you have doubts, please come back to us. And do you remember, can you tell me a little bit about your journey with the visa itself? Danielle, how it was, and can you please tell us how was your journey with the visa process?
Uh, The visa process was long. I mean, I understand that if we needed to be here immediately, then we probably could, well, not immediately, but bureaucracy, but we could have probably arrived sooner than what we did, but we needed to take time. Our daughter was graduating school and
Hmm.
um, we needed to finalize some things with selling a house and in Canada and our company. But the visa process itself with your team was relatively easy because you laid it out completely. It was a checklist. We went one by one. Anything that changed, you would email me or we would have a Zoom meeting. I mean, I had direct contact with you. That if I had a question, I got to see your face and you talked me through it and calmed me down and we can do this. And yeah, step by step, it was great. And I think the key is to have a legal team behind you that can help you through the process because things are changing and also be very, very organized. I
Yes.
went to the consulate in Vancouver and had like we joke, we call it the mom binder, and it
Yeah.
was all of her documents in my mom binder.
Yes.
And the lady was incredibly impressed with the organization that we went through to do. So that was key. And I've told the people that we've met that you've linked us up with, you need to be organized. And
Did you
that
remember that back then, it's not a question now because now they are not asking for the return ticket, but there
yeah,
was a doubt because many places were not asking for the return ticket back then. Now they are not asking at all, but
yeah,
back then some places asked, some places didn't ask, and we gave this decision to you, to your criteria, and you bought it last minute, and the
yes.
lady asked for it. Did you remember that we?
Yeah, she
Yes.
went through my binder and she flipped every page and she was like, "Oh, it's good, it's good." And she's like, "Oh," and the last thing was, "Well, you don't have a return ticket, so I'm sorry, I can't pass it." And I was like, "Actually, I just bought that yesterday." And I flipped through the
Was
binder.
really cold, yes. At
Yeah,
this point, nobody is asking for return tickets, but back
yeah,
then, 2 years ago, some people ask and some don't.
yeah,
And also there were specificities in Canada in respect to your visa, which is different from San Francisco, which is different from London, which is different from Manchester. So each place has its own rules despite the same law, and each consulate has its practicalities. So, and
yeah,
we try to make a standard out of these all of these different practices,
yeah.
subjectivity, and discretionary powers. And can you share? I think it's quite important if you could share with our audience what has been your experience in Portugal. What is like living in Portugal? Can you please tell us what has been, if it's what has been your experience in Portugal?
I wouldn't change a single day. We're so happy to be here. Uh, it's like a dream come true. I still stand in our beautiful yard of Sutelo and I get tears in my eyes because I can't believe that we're here. It's incredible country to live in. We have had the best experience living in a village. It's like we've moved into a giant family. It's really incredible how welcoming everybody is, not only in the village, but in day-to-day life. And language barrier hasn't been an issue. We were concerned about that, but everybody is so friendly and willing to help you. And even if they don't speak English, they will find somebody to speak English or they will read your phone and Google Translate or whatever. Like it's been incredible. But to have every day be in this beautiful climate and not have snow and be able to get outside, it's just a happier, healthier lifestyle for sure.
And as far as you've told me, everything you eat is organic, right?
Yeah, I mean, in Canada, you have an organic section and it's very, very expensive. But here it's just local markets, people coming with their produce to the the weekly mercado in our Villanova Voyage, where we get our groceries. On Saturdays, we get fresh fish. On Mondays, we get fresh vegetables. They bring them from their own gardens and from around Portugal. So the food 100% is healthier and we feel better for it.
And is life more affordable than in Canada? What can you share with us?
Yeah, so based on cost of living, our cost of living is probably less than half. And that's even considering the exchange rate from the Canadian dollar to the euro. So we lose almost half, unfortunately, of our income to the exchange rate, but then cost of living is again half. So an entire grocery cart of groceries in Canada would be $600 Canadian, and here it's sometimes 75 euros, 150 euros if it's a huge shopping trip and I'm having company and friends over. So it's really amazing.
Yes. And how has been your health experience there overall, also with the healthcare
Over,
system in Portugal? Can
yeah,
you?
over,
Yes.
sorry, I was blanking out.
Yes.
Yeah, so overall, health-wise, we're much healthier here because we can get outside. We can breathe fresh air. In Canada, it's 6 months of winter and winter, hard winter, minus 20 to minus 40 with a 20-degree wind chill, snow on the ground and not being able to get outside. So we spend our mornings gardening and planting fruit trees and picking fresh fruit and exercising. We call it our Portuguese exercise program, which is heavy duty gardening, lots of grass cutting. Well, everything is uphill, so you're walking on an incline constantly. So we're overall generally healthier being here for sure, hands down.
There is someone asking, what about the golden visa? I think there is no direct implication in the changes. There were no specifics addressing to the golden visa in the overall new wording, the project of the law. Is your move say? Yes. There's someone is asking that the which had you what was the biggest challenge you had to move to our dear friend and client Charles Bruno? Jim Bruno is asking, what was the biggest challenge you had moving to Portugal?
The biggest challenge, um, leaving friends and family for sure. But with technology, we have Zoom and we have voice notes and communication regularly on the computer. Um, I think probably just leaving, it's a leap of faith. You don't know what you're going to experience. And we were pleasantly surprised on all fronts. There hasn't been a negative aspect in our journey, honestly.
There is someone asking, our dear friend and client Armel Salientes is asking how to renew the card. I think it's better. We will have to go to WIMA. There is a new system online, but is not yet working for his case.
Okay.
So I think what he shall do is contact us, and we will contact IMA through a request, a formal request, and eventually if there is difficulties of the delays, we have to go to an injunction to court to make that happen. Can I imagine that there's Janet Bradley? It must be heavenly. Uh, after the snow in Canada, it must be heavenly. Can you comment on that? How did
Yes.
your bones react to the weather in Portugal? Can you
Oh,
tell us, Danielle?
yeah. So I had a double hip replacement 7 years ago, and they don't tell you that the metal in your legs literally freezes in your actual femur bone and in your body into that cold. And so I did a number of winters, and it was extremely painful. So I'm not at all missing the snow, but actually we get best of both worlds. So in Coimbra, from in this direction from our yard, we can see the snow on the Estrela Mountains. So it's the highest peak in Portugal. So I can see it while I'm standing in green and gardening in our yard. So it's the best of both worlds. I can go and visit
There
snow
is
if I need.
someone
But
asking, how is the internet in such a small village? Does it allow to work remotely? How is the internet that?
yes, internet was a challenge because my husband needs to have really good internet for his work. Um, Now, it probably isn't a factor with all houses in Sotelo or in Portugal, but our house, I don't know, we can see our walls are 2 feet to 3 feet thick in some points of solid stone. So we didn't realize that when we moved, but we have Starlink and it's on um, mounted on the roof, and we've got a fiber connection, and so we've got excellent internet even in a 150-year-old stone castle.
Yes, it allows Brett to work on a daily basis with Canada without no difficulty. Actually,
Without issue, yes.
yes, she's running a company in Canada while
Yeah.
living in Sotelo. I believe right now he's working, right?
He's working right now, so we're both online, and I have no issues with the internet. So, yeah, and he does video conference every day from 2 in the afternoon. So,
Yes, we have our client, Jared Lapling,
mhm.
asking how you prove that you are involved with the Portuguese culture. Apparently, if the project is approved in respect to the Portuguese language, you'll have an A2 test, as previously was stated, and probably you'll have to do an exam where you show you know about Portuguese culture and about our legal system. And you'll have to also show that you eventually have Portuguese friends, that you are involved in Portuguese companies and societies. I think it's a rather subjective criteria, but we can help you with that when time comes. Jared, don't worry right now. We can. This is something. Uh, there we have Edward Ganzer that is interested in the practical challenges you had with your move. Can you share something of practical challenge you had, Danielle, with our dear client Edward Ganzer?
um, Practical challenge. I'm not really sure. Well, when you're phoning different companies for setting up your cell phone bill and your electrical bill and your water bill, that was challenging because it's all an automated system on the phone, and so it's press one for this, press two for this, but it's in Portuguese. So that was a challenge. The phone is always a challenge, but we can also go into these stores and sign up or talk about your bill or review some documents that you need clarification with. And when you get to a face-to-face person, it's no issue.
Okay.
So we relied on a lot of people helping us in our village with that, and it was done
Okay.
relatively
And
easy.
there is someone, Daphne, is asking whether your daughter went to Portuguese university and whether she was happy with the relocation.
My daughter was happy with relocation because she really, really wanted to travel. She didn't go to university. She just turned 21. She chose not to go to university right away. She had the opportunity to travel first, and she might not go to university because she's just having an incredible time. She actually went to a job fair in Porto, and it was for all cruise lines across the world, and she is actually in Alaska on her way to the French Polynesian Islands, to the Hawaiian Islands, and to Australia and New Zealand on shore excursions for a cruise line. So she's living her best life.
Can you tell how did you, if you bring items, furniture from Canada, and how did you
Yes.
bring them? And what are your arrangements for money transfer? Our dear client Edward is asking for this.
For our shipping, we just researched a shipping company. I think you also helped us with a shipping company contact. Yes, and we chose not to bring any major furniture, just personal items, and
Okay.
then we boxed it all up, and they came and picked it up right at our garage in Alberta, and it was delivered. I think it was 9 weeks after we arrived. So we just lived for 9 weeks out of the suitcases that we brought. And we were lucky enough that this house was fully furnished with older furniture, and we knew that we would replace things slowly, but at least we had the bare necessities to get here. But yeah, there's lots of different shipping companies that you can use. And from what I've heard from other people that have been here, there hasn't been any issues.
Edward is also asking about the arrangements for money transfer. Edward, you can use Wise. That is a quite affordable app, and this is
Yep.
very affordable. It's a good thing. But can you
Yep.
share, Danielle, how do you do money transfers from Canada? What is the system that can you share with us? How you,
From our Canadian bank account, we just do a global money transfer. And for large amounts, we would go right into the bank and just be sure that it was done properly. But yeah, just on the banking app, you can do global money transfers. to and from. It just takes a little bit of time, but no problem.
Let me see. Were you living in a big city in Canada? Someone, is it a big transition regarding living to this village?
Yes, yes. And for the better, actually. So we lived in a smaller town, a smaller city outside of a bigger city. So we came from Okotoks, Alberta, which is 15 minutes away from Calgary, Alberta. So it's in the western part of Canada. So we did kind of live in a smaller city town, but way larger than this. We have about, I think, 80 people in Sotelo. So we were looking for a slower lifestyle and a calmer way of life, and we found it. But we also wanted to be close to the amenities. Coimbra, like I said, is 20 minutes away, a beautiful drive to get there. It's very, very convenient. So we'll go grocery shopping 8 minutes away, and there's four grocery stores in the small village, or else we'll go to into Coimbra, which is the big city.
So, and how was your overall experience with the Portuguese bureaucracy? Can you share a little bit with us?
Well, I mean, you handled that. So, you handled that. But yeah, as long as we were up to date, we knew that things take time. We know that government takes holidays and you have to wait. And I mean, even with our staff appointment, AMA appointment, they decided to take an extra day of holidays in the beginning of the year because our appointment was on the 3rd and they changed it to the 5th with no notification. So the bureaucracies is going to happen. It happens in Canada, it happens in the States. So
We were
that
always with you. We remained more days in Coimbra.
yes, yes, thank goodness you stayed because again, everybody speaks Portuguese in that office, so we were happy to have you facilitate that mishap
Yes,
and
and we help you with your back problem back then. You had we guide
yeah.
you to get a good acupuncturist here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was pretty crippled. I had a back issue at the time that you came and you walked me right over to the acupuncture clinic and translated, and then I still go and see that acupuncturist. He speaks English. He's a wonderful gentleman, and I go to him still today. Everybody that I see for professionals speaks English. The dentist, the banker, my hairdresser, my nail lady, my massage therapist, everybody speaks English. I haven't had an issue, so.
And is it affordable to go to do a massage here and to go to hairdresser? Can you share a little bit with us?
Very affordable. Very affordable. The prices range, but where we are, I do all my major services in Coimbra, so it is considered a big city. But nothing, it doesn't even compare to Canada. So for example, I used to go to acupuncture regularly and it was $110 per service, and here it's 36 euros.
Yes,
So
and it's in a very well-known place. It's
yes.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a wonderful office. Very, very knowledgeable. So,
And hairdresser, just to share with our audience, how much do you used to pay in
oh,
Canada and here?
oh yeah. I mean, if I was doing haircut, highlights, a balayage, conditioning treatment, the whole 9 yards of what long hair takes, I was paying up to 200 to 250, sometimes $300 Canadian. And here I maybe pay 100 euros. Maybe. Like if I go for a haircut, it's 36 euros.
Yes.
So
And it's an expensive place in Coimbra because you could get
yes.
eventually
Oh yes.
Cascais or Algarve are not that affordable.
Yes,
But
yes.
as a disclaimer, I think it's important to state that, but you can find quite affordable
Of
places.
course. Yes. I mean, I really like my hairdresser. We got along really great. I went for a consultation and we got along. But I mean, my husband goes for a haircut and he pays I think 11 euros.
Okay. And what's a massage cost in Sotelo? Just for this, of course, this is a small village. This is not a main
Yeah.
city, but can you tell us what's the range of prices for a massage?
Well, I've been to a couple of massage therapists, a couple in Coimbra, and they were about 40 or 35 to 55 an hour. And
Yeah.
then they actually went over the time, so it was about an hour and a half. But we're very lucky in Sotelo. There's actually a massage therapist clinic that opened up. It's a husband and wife, and they charge us 12 euros.
Oh, quite
Yeah,
impressive. Yes,
that's not
I
usual.
must say
That's
it's
friends and family.
important to do a disclaimer. This will not be
That is
the
not
price
the
in Lisbon,
no.
Cascais, or in the Algarve.
But
And
I would think even in a big city like in Coimbra, I used to be a massage therapist. I'm a retired massage therapist. So um I researched a number of people and I couldn't find a therapist that charged more than 60 euros for an hour and a half. So
yes,
pretty
quite impressive.
quite
And
impressive.
can you tell me about safety? Do you feel safe in Portugal? Do you feel safe in your community? Can you tell me about safety and crime? What is your personal experience?
Yeah, personal experience. Again, we didn't know. So in when we bought our home, it was going to be empty for 8 months before we arrived. So I was quite concerned. It was fully furnished and it's a beautiful home, but we didn't know. So I actually hired one of the local young ladies to come and check on the house once a week. And I paid her to do that for us just for peace of mind. And then I had a husband and wife gardener team to take care of the yard because things grow here very quickly. So you need somebody to look after the yard if you're not here. And I was concerned. And they kept saying, you don't have to be concerned. You don't have to be concerned. I didn't actually understand the safety until I got here. Um, I didn't have to be concerned. This village is exceptionally safe. Everybody is family. Everybody's so lovely. And I mean, even my neighbors, if a different delivery truck that isn't normal shows up at our driveway, they call me if I'm not home. And
Okay.
yeah,
So you've never heard of a crime over there?
I've actually never heard of a crime in Sotelo specifically, but even in Coimbra, um, our daughter was, she's gone to the nightclubs and she's gone to the concerts down at the river, and she's like, Mom, she comes home at, Portuguese, they party for all night long. So she goes to at 11 and she comes home at 6 a.m. and we're like, how was it? And she said it was unbelievable. There was no fights, there was no uh drunken disorderly situations. She did not feel unsafe one time. And even with a group of people are walking through the streets, it's um so safe. It's mind-blowing. Coming from Canada, you have that street smarts and we don't need that here. So that's really odd.
Lots of people asking whether it was difficult buying a car. If you can share a little bit with us, how was the process? If it was easy or if you find any difficulties, can you please share with us?
Yeah, no, it was basically find what you'd like to buy, and we bought a Citroen SUV because we wanted a bigger car because we needed to do some renovations and things. So we bought brand new and we financed it, and the process was great. It was really the ease of the salesperson. Again, the generosity of time from each sales associate that we um, worked with was really, it made it easy. So yeah, no, there was no issue.
There was someone asking you whether you consider any other place before Coimbra. What other places you consider to move to?
Um, well, I think it was probably the house. It was finding the house that really solidified it, and we wanted to be close to Coimbra, but no, we didn't really consider other places. After traveling, I can compare. Like, I think I'd be more comfortable closer to Porto. Sorry, Lisbon and Sandra. I know you love Lisbon,
As we have
but
people all over Portugal helping us.
yeah, we really love Porto, and and we didn't go too far down into the Algarve. We're excited to go and visit this summer down south, but yeah, no, we saw a number of different places, uh, although all of them were beautiful and we really enjoyed traveling to them. every place is very close to get to. So being central was really the key because we can go north and south very easily.
Okay. What advice would you give for someone considering moving to Portugal? What would be your main advice?
My main advice is to research where you want to be. Um, Again, price ranges are a factor throughout Portugal. And the number one thing is to have a team. I know people online and on Facebook and different expat groups and things like that. They'll say you can do this process by yourself, but I actually don't even understand how somebody could. If you are not a Portuguese, fluent in Portuguese, and you're not up to date in all of the different bureaucracies that change regularly, I don't know how you could do this. So, a legal team such as yourself is really mandatory, in my opinion.
Okay. Great for us. It was a really, and for my team, I can speak for my team, it's a privilege to accompany the journey of your family. I think it's a very happy and a very joyful. I'm always repeating it, but it's really a pleasure. You referred us, thankfully, to a lot of people. But I think it's also a very, because you also committed to adapt and to be of service also to your community. So that was, and to also to provide and to get the documentation needed. But I think it's a very, very happy story of relocation. So I think it's super interesting. As
Thank you.
for us here in the office, we, if you need our help, we'll have a team willing to help you and accompany in your journey, as we did with Brett, Danielle, and their doctor. As a Lina, is that Alexandra is helping me with the name. I know her very well. We didn't even hire those for a small job here in the office, so
Yes.
we do know her very, very well, and we might hire her for more things in the future. Um, in respect, I would like to end again, referring some of the alterations that we have now in progress in respect to immigration and citizenship. So, again, the alterations are not yet in force, and probably they won't affect the daily life of those that are D7 or D8 holders, of those that already lived in Portugal. I think the major alteration would be the naturalization. Before, to acquire Portuguese citizenship, it was required that you reside 5 years in Portugal. Now it will be 10 years. People would, following also the tendency in many other world and European countries, you'll be required to have a strong connection with the Portuguese community and to show that you know the Portuguese system and you know about Portuguese culture. And probably if you commit a crime, you might not be able to acquire Portuguese citizenship. And there is also the possibility of the revocation of citizenship if you commit some serious crimes. In terms of the immigration itself, there will probably abolish the manifestation de interest for CPLP countries, and they are proposing the alteration to a system that will be a stricter family reunification. This, in principle, will not affect those that come as a company family member at the same pace as the same path as the main applicant. Also, there will be tighter requirements for those that want to come for work. So you'll have probably to have a job, and you can only come to seek for a job if you are in certain professions that are qualified as high value professions. There will be probably a new border policy, but to know exactly what will be the alterations, will have to wait to September and to understand very well what our president will do, because now the major changes were approved in general terms by the parliament, but they need to be ratified by the president, and there are several scenarios that are possible. For me, let me thank you so much, Danielle. It's a pleasure I'm wishing to have some vacations with you in Sotelo and grab you some lemons and fresh fruits over there.
You do anything.
I'm really already a little bit envious me that that I'm in Lisbon. Thank you so much to be our client and to be part of this.
Of course.
And of
Thank
course to any of your the audience, sorry if I didn't cover any of your questions, but please come back to us. It will be a pleasure to assist you and to answer to all your questions.
you.
Thank you so much again, Danielle.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Thank you, Sandra. See you again.